Hello, dear friends. Here we are, the Medium's Harvest. Day 12. With Emmanuel, through Xavier, we've got a book that is changing lives, and not only personally, but collectively, communities. This book was published in 1961 as a tribute to 100 years of the publishing of the Medium's book by Kardec. The Medium's book by Kardec is a guide to all those who want to understand about mediumship under the light of Spiritism and practice it, of course. And Emmanuel brings the development of items that were written in that book. For those who are not acquainted, the Medium's book contains 32 chapters, including the bylaws of the Parisian, the Spiritist Studies of Paris, or the Parisian Spiritist Studies Society, whatever way we translate it, but it was Kardec Center in Paris. And it's good to know how it functioned. And he says, I'm sharing these bylaws not as a stagnated model, but also as an inspiration on how we follow through. So we would say, if you are opening a center, or if you are directing a center, it's a must to study the bylaws. Why? First and foremost, to see how Kardec, as the president of the center, saw the dynamics of it all. How he shares with all of us the operation of the center. And you will see that he puts a lot of emphasis on the responsibility of the members, on the responsibility of the directors, and the commitment. It's very interesting. The other thing is, he has another chapter at the end of the book that talks about different types of mediumistic messages, showing to us the difference between messages we can trust and messages we can not trust, and teaches us how to analyze the language, which is one of the things he says. In mediumship, he says in the Medium's book, we do two things. We observe the facts and analyze the language. So, observe the facts means I need to be objective and know a little about myself, so I don't paint the personal colors of mine in the things that I'm observing. Scientific. It's a scientific method. And two, analyze the language. So he never says, analyze the names of the people who are coming in, it doesn't matter. But analyze the language. And in psychology and also in science in general, we learn about analysis of the discourse. And in the analysis of the discourse, we're going to learn the beauty of reading between the lines, paying attention to the words that are being used and why they're being used, the moments that they're being used. And in that regard, Kardec is teaching us how to analyze the language. 350 items. Today, chapter 12 of the book, The Medium's Harvest by Emmanuel. We're going to be studying item 226. 226 is inside chapter 20th. Beautiful number. 20th. What is it titled? The influence, the moral influence of the medium. Good question. Item 1, 226, 12 subsections. Questions and answers by Kardec and the spirits who came in. And there we have the beauty of it all. Okay? The beauty of it all. This time we're going to read the question and the answer. Item 226 of the Medium's book, chapter 20th, titled The Moral Influence of the Medium. Kardec asked the spirits, does the development of mediumship have any relation to the medium's moral development? What does that mean? It means, if I am a more evolved person, does that change the development of my mediumship, of that ability? What is the answer? What do you think? Yes or no? Think about it. Yes or no? If I am a more evolved spirit, am I going to develop my mediumship better, faster? No. The faculty per se is organic and therefore independent of morality. However, the same does not apply concerning its use. Two different things, which can be good or bad according to the medium's character. So mediumship, the ability does not change. It's like intelligence. I can be a person that is not evolved, but very intelligent. And then I create the atomic bomb. And then I create the nuclear bomb. Very intelligent. But the morality is not at the same level. I can be very intelligent, but creating crimes. I can be a medium of ostensible mediumship. People say strong medium. There is no like strong medium, weak medium. There are levels of mediumship. That's all that is, like development. And the use we're going to give to it is a difference. So a good medium in those 12 subsections of item 226 of the Medium's book, Kardec is going to bring to us, and just as a teaser, okay, in item 11, sub-item 11 of item 226, when Kardec asked the spirits, what are the conditions for the good use of mediumship, counting on the fact that good spirits are coming along? Desire. The medium should only desire what is good and avoid selfishness and pride. These are the conditions. Freeing themselves from human vanity and humble their reason before God. These are the conditions for being a good medium. So of course, Lívia Moraes is right. If I have high moral values, the use I'm going to give to mediumship is going to be fantastic. Like Chico Xavier, like Divaldo Franco, like Ivone Pereira, like Amália Domingo Soler. But if I am not very evolved, what's going to happen? I'm going to end up like mediums we've seen, the Fox sisters. The Fox sisters had a problem. Their moral values were not up to their ostensible mediumship. See, they are an example. Very light example. Though we're grateful to them. For example, Valdo Vieira. We still owe to him a great deal. But he was not like Chico Xavier. Very intelligent, ostensible medium at the level of Chico, but Chico, the moral character was up to that level of mediumship. We're not judging, but we're just giving examples. Valdo Vieira was not. He gave up. He couldn't give up on human vanity. We're at a distance evaluating. So we need to be careful. For those who don't know Valdo Vieira, he's discarnated. We owe him a great deal. He worked side by side and lived as a roommate for some time with Chico Xavier. He was a physician and a dentist. Unlike Chico Xavier, he had no degree. But he embraced Spiritism, and he was such a good medium that he would psychograph books with Chico Xavier, be in different cities, different times, and if you read the books, you cannot tell any difference between the odd and the even chapters that they psychographed. Books by André Luiz, like Mechanisms of Mediumship, Evolution into Worlds, yet to be published in English, though translated, and besides others. And you cannot tell. So the mediumship, the ability of both was like, at that level, equal. I will say quote unquote, because I don't have any measure to really say it, but we'll say same level. But their moral choices, their personal choices were different, and that changed. So that's what Emmanuel is telling us now in this chapter. It was a long introduction, and for those who don't know Valdo Vieira, he came to the United States with Chico Xavier in 1965, 1966, and in 66 he abandoned Chico Xavier and Spiritism in New York and left for his personal decisions. Never came back again. Shocked, it can happen to any one of us. And that happened after he was warned several times by Chico Xavier. Through Emmanuel, he was warned. He told Valdo Vieira, not enough. It happened. Talking to Richard Simonetti in 2009, when he was visiting us in Baltimore, when he was telling his story, because we asked several Spiritist scholars from Brazil about that story, because they were the ones who had the same age range or similar, and they were very active in the Brazilian Spiritist movement, and we wanted to know how that impacted them. And then I asked Richard Simonetti, what does this event in the Spiritist movement tell you? He says, Vanessa, it's a lesson for me on how vulnerable we can be and how we really need to listen to Jesus when he said, watch and pray. Watch and pray. Yes, Teresa Castro, Valdo Vieira psychographed books together with Chico Xavier. Books that were the most difficult ones, like Mechanisms of Mediumship, not in English yet, and Evolution into Worlds. Some of them, okay? Let's see tonight what Emmanuel says, inspired by the Spirit's teachings in this question and answer published by Kardec, item 226, sub-item 1, on February 12th, 1960. In mediumship, it is not mediumship which distinguishes you. It is what you make of it. The action of the instrument depends on the attitude of the servant. The product reveals the worker. The quill portrays the soul of the writer. The asset proceeds in the direction given by its caretaker. The farmer as a whole, however, if lazy, it will get rusty. If delinquent, it may become a weapon. If helpful and diligent, it raises fortunate the glebe, which is the plot of cultivated land of flour and bread. The legislator holds power, but through it, if irresponsible, the legislator stimulates disorder. If dishonest, the legislator motivates pillage. If conscientious and sacrificing, the legislator is the living foundation of culture and progress. The artist has greater resources of intelligence at his disposal. Nonetheless, with them, if unbalanced, the artist may become mad. If corrupt, the artist will succumb to vice. The artist, if noble and generous, will always rise as an upright person to virtue. One must recognize in the end that in terms of the qualities and possibilities of the farmer, the legislator, and the artist, in the concession of the mandate entrusted to them, only divine law can judge. All of us, however, can categorize their influence immediately by the good or evil they spread. In the same way, it is the same way in mediumship. Whatever the talent that enriches you, seek first the good, in the knowledge that the good, when in the service of others, is the only irreprehensible good we can do. In this way, even if you feel imperfect and maladjusted, unhappy, or well, or ill, use the mediumistic force in which life involves you, helping and educating, supporting and serving, helping your fellow human beings, because the good that you do to them will return from others to your own path as the blessing of God shining over you. Oh, blessed mediumship, like intelligence. That's the reason why yesterday, when Emmanuel was talking about hunger and ignorance as the great calamities of humanity, he clearly stated to us, that we need to do the best we can to help others rid of ignorance, help ourselves rid of our ignorance. How? By studying. How? By observing others who are ahead of us and never stopping. Mediums, he says, it's a mediumistic force that in life involves you in. So mediumship is not yours. No. It is a concession by God, so you can use it. But if you don't use it, it's like abortion. People are now, no, but it's my body. I have the right. Yes, your body. But the body inside your body is not your body. It belongs to the spirit that is reincarnating. We can only accept it if we believe that life is beyond matter. So I cannot I should not kill the baby inside of my belly, because it's not mine. Then mediumship is the same. I cannot simply not do anything with it, thinking, yeah, I may use it or not. No, no, no. Life, God is giving us this ability of being instruments of the beyond, to help people. I cannot simply say, I may not use it. Responsibly, I say, God, you gave it to me. I'm going to learn to educate it. And go to the school of mediumship. Where is it? In the Spirit Descent. Safest place. It's the safest place to practice mediumship. Why? Because there we have mediumship with Jesus. Which Jesus? The Christ consciousness. Without which we won't be able to do what the spirits are telling us in the Medium's book. To only desire what is good and avoid selfishness and pride. Only the Christ consciousness teaches us that. Only. And regarding mediumship. And it's the safest place. Because we're not going to practice alone. We're going to practice it in a group. So, it's very interesting because Emmanuel separates this message in 3 components. And he says, the first one is the definition. He says, mediumship is not distinguishing you. So, I'm a medium. Oh, that person is different. No, no, no. I remember in Baltimore, people, when we started the Spirit Side of Baltimore, years ago, 20 years ago, it's going to be in 2018. And I remember there were no spiritists in Baltimore. There were no. And people who know me, Brazilians who knew me and were scientists, they were like, Vanessa, they just heard about the group we're forming. We started in our house. And they were like, Vanessa, you're crazy, right? Why? Because you're a medium, you talk to spirits, and you study spiritism. And they were scientists. And I'm like, I don't think I'm crazy because of it. I would be crazy not to do it. And today, who are they? Members of the Spiritist Side of Baltimore. I'm not going to say names, but they're members of the Spirit Side of Baltimore. It just takes time for people to perceive it. And he says, you're not different because you're medium. But what you do with the mediumship makes a difference. What you do with mediumship. So like, for example, if the spirits are telling you in the group, start the study of thought and life in the Afrikaans language in South Africa. Rihanna, Nico, they're going to say, as good mediums, yes, we will, why not? So they started it, right, Rihanna? Good job, Rihanna. Good job. And the action of the instrument depends on the attitude of the servant. The product reveals the worker. So the good spirit said to Divaldo, open an orphanage. He was 20 years old. He did it. And people are like, are you crazy? He said to me, and Uncle Nilsson, who is discarnated, people thought we were crazy, Vanessa, even spiritists. I said, yeah, I don't doubt it. Because there are spiritists and spiritists. Kardec already explained in the Medium's book. So what are the guardian angels of yours telling you that you may not be listening or doubting? Because here there is a rule of thumb. He says, if the talent enriches you, seek first the good. In the knowledge of the good, when in service of others, is the only irreprehensible good we can do. He's saying, if what you are listening is going to do good to others and to you, you are crazy not to do it. So as a scientist, being 25 years of age in Baltimore, Maryland, an immigrant, and the Spirit said, open the group in your house. If I didn't do it, we wouldn't be here tonight. Because tonight is a consequence of that first step. And it's a consequence of when I was 17 in Brazil, and I heard a voice saying, go open the educational activities, the Spiritist educational for children in that institute, because there was none. And when I was 14, I've heard about people who were educating. I was in the Spiritist youth group, and I've heard the coordinator saying, well, if you want to volunteer, you guys, to educate children in Spiritism, they are at-risk children, but if you want to help, you can join us tomorrow at 8 a.m. And I said, I do. And I did. We had to wake up at 6 a.m. on Sunday. I was 14. For me, it was like obvious. Why not? Why not? So what is the good spirit that's connected to your heart, tutoring you, your guardian angel, your protecting spirit, telling you to do when you're hesitant? Like, oh, but people are going to think I'm crazy, but it's not going to work. It doesn't matter. You have to do it. If they are suggesting it, they already know the rest of it all. I remember 10 years ago, December 2007, visiting the Brazilian Spiritist Federation, a month before traveling to Brazil. In a mediumistic meeting, we received a psychography, a message by the mentor of the SSB, Benjamin Franklin. It was one of the times that we received direct message from him. He came and he said, you're gonna start coordinating a magazine in Spiritism. Don't worry, because the resources are coming along. And I remember some people at the mediumistic meeting laughed and they were like, Vanessa. And I said, it's not me. You think I dream of doing these things? I have a lot of work to do. 10 years ago. And then we didn't know. I said, let's wait. If they're saying the resources are coming along, who am I to say otherwise? Let's just mind our business and they're going to show us the way. That's the rule. We packed, traveled to Brazil to visit family and to visit the Spiritist family. We were there visiting Godinho. He was living in Brasilia. And Mr. Mazzotti and Cesar Perry, who were at the Brazilian Spiritist Federation, were there visiting them. We didn't even recall the message. And then I remember as if it is today, Mr. Nestor Mazzotti, then president of the Brazilian Spiritist Federation, and one of the directors, and later he was the president of the Brazilian Spiritist Federation, Antônio César Pérez de Carvalho, saying, Vanessa, how about if you revive the Spiritist magazine in English? And then I was like, and Daniel Santos from Baltimore was there as a witness. And we were like, and then immediately I recalled the message that a month prior we received in a mediumistic meeting by Ben Franklin. And then we understood, so they prepared us. And I said, okay, this is not crazy. Because they warned us, they guided us, now they're showing. And they said, don't worry, we're going to have resources to put it forth. And we embraced it. So this year we're celebrating 10 years of this work with the Spiritist magazine. Why we're saying this? To brag about ourselves? No. But to show the behind the scenes of this natural communication with the spirits. That's how it happens. If they tell you, help that person, don't doubt. They say, give a gift to that person because that person needs bread. You look at them, they look like they need bread. Oh, but people are going to think I'm crazy. He's not going to understand. That's not your business. You serve, you do the good. That's what Emmanuel is saying. In this way, even if you feel imperfect, you see how he brings it personal to you, to me, personal. Do you feel you're imperfect? Me too. I feel. No, I know I am. Maladjusted? Of course, we're still adjusting ourselves. Unhappy? No. Ill? No, but you know, everybody has sickness and is ill sometimes. But use the mediumistic force in which life involves you. Helping, educating, supporting, serving, helping your fellow human beings. Mamma mia! Because the good that you do them will return from others to your own path as blessing of God shining over you. Right, Liva Moraes? Yeah, the work of the spirits, you're right, it's beautiful. It is a beautiful work. So, where are we now? The main question and the homework for all of us is, what have the spirits given to us? What are the guidelines, the counsels, the advices? And we're still like, yeah, one day. This day is never going to come if it doesn't start today. Okay? That's a breakdown for today. Saying hello before we wrap up. Before I go back to the message, wrap up for tomorrow. Karina Alice, congratulations, you made it. Beautiful. Now studying neuroscience, neuroanatomy. Fred Gouveia is here with us. What a joy. Constance and Anthony, how are you? Connie too? Teresa Castro, Lívia Moraes, Ceissa, beautiful friends, how are you? La Souza, Erika, how are you? Sunshine, how are you? Isael Araújo, how are you, my friend? Nina Dui, and Andrea Torres, Justina Martiri, how are you? Leia Severo, how are you? Angelita Fraternity Without Borders, Adilson, how are you? Patricia, how are you? And Silvio Otero is with us, what a joy too. Elza Leal, how are you? Rudy, John the Rose, what a joy. Luciana Nicoliello is here with us as well. And Rosa Maria Panama. Am I right, Rosa Maria? You're in Panama. Correct? And, okay, let me go here. Because then, I know we have friends who are here connected with us. You know, this, for those who entered later, the breakdown of chapter 12 today is from item 226 of the Medium's book by Kardec. It's worth reading it. It's composed of 12 sub-items. Item 1 is the reason why we're discussing this whole message today. See how Emmanuel is teaching us to study the Medium's book? We love it. I love it too. Raquel Leong is here with us. Rihanna. Ubiratan Sevilla, how are you? Antônio Henrique Freitas, Victoria Baker. And we have here Regina Barbosa, Emmanuel Dizon. And friends, tomorrow when we come back, as we're studying this, Emmanuel is going deeper and deeper. Chapter 13 is in mediumistic service, and he is relying upon item 228. The message is dense in the sense of like concentrated, and he begins by saying this: if you have embraced mediumship, take care against pride as one who protects himself from a destructive parasite. Like, for example, I was telling you my personal accounts. No, I'm not proud of it. But I would say I share with you, with the permission of the good spirits that are guiding us, just so you see how a person this imperfect can listen to this counsel, follow through, and share. If I am this imperfect and I can listen and follow through their guidelines, you can do it. That's the reason why we're sharing. As Emmanuel says, we're imperfect, we're still maladjusted, but if we listen to those who are guiding us, like a good student listening to the educator, the teacher, they make it happen, right? That's what it is, friends. It's all about listening, being easy in the hands of the good spirits, and as Kardec shares with us, desire only what is good. Don't you? You do. That's why we're in this beautiful community. A big hug to you, friends. December 1st. Joy to the world, the Lord is come. Dun 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 dun. Dun 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 dun. Da 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 da. Oh, beautiful Jesus, here he comes. Big hug to you, and until tomorrow.